Welcome the senior 2 class of St. KALEMBA Senior Secondary School, NAZIGO, in this agriculture class. I am teacher Byamukama once again, interacting with you. The last time we met, we had looked at the principles that are involved in raising crops. Here, we are specifically going to raise one of the commonest and popularly grown crop, which are the beans. Scientifically, we call beans Phaseolus vulgaris. The first step in growing beans is clearing the land, and we do this to remove the bush. Then after clearing the land, we carry out the first tillage operation or the first cultivation, which is called primary tillage. And this is done to make secondary tillage easy. Then after like 2 weeks, we carry out secondary cultivation. And this is done to make the soil fine so that planting is done with ease. During planting, there are basically 5 principles that we follow as we plant. The first one is the time of planting. We are recommended always plant early, and this is when the rain has just started, so that the crop gains from the heavy nutrients from the soil and enough moisture. Then after that, as we dig holes, the holes must be at appropriate depth. If you make the holes too deep, the seeds will not come up. If you make them too shallow, they will be exposed and may not germinate. Then also, as we dig holes, we make sure that they are correctly spaced so that the competition is minimized. Then we also consider the method of planting, and in our case, we recommend row planting or planting in line. We plant in lines so that practices like weeding, spraying, removing of diseased plants are made easier. Then as we plant, we put fertilizer, and the beans being legumes, they don't respond to nitrogenous fertilizers, but instead we use SSP. In full, as we saw in senior 1, this is single super phosphate fertilizer. And this fertilizer here helps in proper root development. And finally, as we plant at least 2 seeds in each hole, and then we cover with soil. Then once the crop has germinated, we move on, spotting areas where germination could have failed, and then we do what we call gap filling, so that we have optimum plant population for a better harvest. Then we begin to weed. Weeding is done to remove the weeds which would otherwise compete with the crops or even spread pests and diseases. Then we spray. Most commonly, we spray using fungicides to control the fungi which causes diseases in the bean plants. Then we also remove the plants which are diseased. We usually uproot them and burn them somewhere else. And this practice is what we call roguing. Then for varieties which climb upwards, we normally carry out staking. We support them so that they can grow upright to receive enough sunlight for better harvest. Then we go to harvest our beans when they are ready, and depending on the purpose. If we want to eat them fresh, we harvest the green pods. And when we want them dry, we harvest them when the pods are dry. Then after we have finished harvesting, we carry out what we call post-harvest handling. Most of the losses that are incurred are done after harvesting. And therefore, in your free time, you try out this question, that you outline the post-harvest handling practices carried out on beans. Using your own knowledge, what do you normally do on the beans after you have immediately harvested them? I wish you